Good morning, students. I'm audible. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Is it visible? My screen? Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Okay. Let me record. I think it's recording only. See, last class we started with the process of design. In that, we started understanding the design thinking. There, majorly we discussed about shared model in team-based design. Right? In any, if you go industry or organization, so many people are involving in a single model. Right? Single model. In that one, right? You cannot put everyone to work on the same component. There are various components are there, so which are being parallelly being done, right? At the end, when the time, at the end of the time schedule, right? So all the different various modules are brought together and final product is designed, right? So in that way they need to plan, right? The shared model, we discussed about the components of the shared model or components of the team, or we also discussed the different tasks to be performed by the team, what is the size of the team, all those things we discussed in the previous class. And we also started discussing on the theory and practice in design thinking. What is the theory in design thinking, and what are the practices being done in design thinking, what we must do in order to bring down the gap between theory and practice, right? Actually, just a minute. So let us, I think we were stopped at okay. So I think we completed up to here in the previous class, specifying the hypothesis. What is the hypothesis, and so what are the other assumptions to be made in hypothesis when an hypothesis is said to be better than the other hypothesis, right? So up to here we discussed in the previous class. So this is the new subject, this design thinking, though there are not tangible direct benefits are not there as of now from this subject. But when you go to work tomorrow, okay, these things are required. How you must think, right? In what way you must think, right? Just like we are doing this outcome-based education nowadays. In olden days, it was teacher-centric education, but nowadays it is a student-centric education, right? So every subject what we teach, we measure in terms of some outcomes, right? Similarly, in design thinking also, we think in a way that what should be the outcome of a particular type of the product, whether it should be, it can be sellable or not. So all those things we need to think. And we also discuss some basic concepts like empathize, ideate, okay, solve, create, right, test, and then you give it to the market, right? Different steps are there in design thinking. Even if, so when you study this subject, you must be able to solve any new type of problem. What is the approach to be? Even if even if you have not heard anything, any new topic is given, right? New task is given to you. Okay, what is your approach to complete the task, right? Many things when you go to industry for working and all, many things you don't know. So in teaching and all, in a limited time span, we can only teach the basic concepts. Basic concepts we try to highlight in our classroom teaching and all, in even in practicals also. But when you go to industry, a complete project will be given, right? Here you will be taught module wise. Similarly, in our civil engineering, we teach them design of beam, design of column, design of slabs, right? Individual component they teach, we teach. But when they go to actual industry, a complete project is given, right? Or even some new component which they have not heard, that is also given. In such case, what is their approach? Right? How they should start, what did they do? First, they start empathizing, they start learning about the project task, and then they understand the what are the things to be done, what are the things to be, what are the raw materials or components required to finish this project, right? And then they create a prototype, or they create a drawing and all, prototype or something, right? And then they, even if they want, they can model in computer also, right? And then they manufacture, and then they test the actual model, right? These are the various steps being followed, right? So these things you already you know these things, right? Even if you want to purchase a new laptop and all, so the same steps you follow. Okay, what is your requirement, right? Whether you want to play or game, or you want to use it for the academic purpose, all you will think. Based on that, you will go research in the internet, what should be the configuration of my system or laptop is required. So all those things you do the research, right? And then you write it down on the paper, like it is like a prototype, right? What are the things should be required and all, only in your small scale, right? You write a what a configuration of the laptop or system, or you can even take the pictures available in the internet, Amazon or Flipkart. You can compare the different products, right? Price wise also you will compare. Then you are going to purchase that one. These are the same steps which are put it in the different terminologies in this subject, right? Now we'll come back to the actual subject. Why experiments matter, right? So, so this as a preliminary considerations which have been formulated, a choice needs to be made as to how the subject matter shall be tackled empirically. In principle, two alternatives are available. Okay, many times, right? A set procedure is not given, right? Set procedure or theoretical background, theoretical formulas will not be given. In such cases, we need to find the solution empirically. Empirically means through experiment, through observation. There you cannot give the logical reasoning, right? Or that you cannot bring in mathematical form, right? Empirically, you need to test them
Sir, you're muted, sir.
Huh? Somebody, okay, it got muted. Okay, I'm sorry. Hmm? Oh, I don't know how it got muted, right? So anyhow, record these videos, pre-record videos are available. You can go through those pre-record videos also, right? So please let me know if it gets muted. I did not mute this one, but automatically it got muted. I don't know how. Right? So what we are discussing is the challenges in experimental setup, right? So here in this challenge is that you need to carefully set up the experimental setup. Why? Because it determines the upper limit of what can be found out. What are the various parameters which can be found out from these experimental setup. Right? It should be done in such a way that the scope for measuring the various parameters should be grand, or different parameters can be measured, or at least not minute. Since you are spending money for experiments and all, right, you need to measure as many parameters as possible, right? And this your experiment should be open enough so that it would be possible to come up with a technical or a social solution, or an artistic or political or yet other types of solutions, right? It should be open to different types of solutions, right? At any at any time you should be able to receive the different types of solutions. A related demand is that there should be the possibility of using knowledge from diverse fields, right? In experimental setup, we need to use the knowledge from diverse fields, scientific or philosophical or social, or different knowledge expertise you must can be incorporated in the experiments which you are going to design, right? So experiments is still within the stage of empathizing stage or testing stage, right? Next is the next concept is the operationalization. Right? Each team will present suggestion regarding the problem
Sir, screen
situation.
is frozen, sir.
Again muted. Hello?
Sir, screen is frozen, sir.
Screen is not visible.
It's visible, sir, but the slides are not visible.
No, it will take some, because it is no internet, no, because of internet speed and all. So it will take some 3 or 4 minutes delay in telecasting, right? So I have recorded these videos. I already uploaded these pre-record videos in Teams. Also, I posted the PPT also in WhatsApp group, right? There also you can collect the PPTs also, right?
Okay.
So next slide is operationalization. So each team, different teams might be there in a product development or project. There, each team will present suggestions regarding the problem situation. So here, what is to be done so that reliable measure results, that is estimates of unusualness of each solution, right? So you need to take out the reliable measure or measurable results, or the you need to consider the unusualness of the type of situation. When invoking numbers in everyday life, we often ask questions about concrete things, but some of the factors of interest are quite abstract. This does not make a difference for the procedure assessing or measuring those factors. Many times we ask questions in concrete things, what time it is, or quantifiable number. We expect the answer in terms of number, right? If you want to check the accuracy or efficiency of the any equipment or machines, right? There also we use percentage also. But many times answers are not in the form of abstract. If somebody asks you to ask you about the particular type of the experience, graphics experience in a particular type of the software, right? You cannot give in terms of numbers. You can say either it is good or bad, right? In such situations, how you are going to measure the output, right? So there is one of the possible ways in such case is that you can ask the customer or consumer or user to rate in on a scale of 10. Right? In there also you can take the answers in abstract answers. You can convert into quantifiable answers. Right? Next concept, final concept is the presentation standards across the globe. Right? So across the globe, different nationals are there, different corporates are there, right? They different these nations and corporate, they have a different disciplinary culture, right? And also along with social and institutional environment also will influence the type of the customer and type of the products which we are going to bring to the market. So how these will influence, we'll understand in the next, in the upcoming slides, right? So when you come to national culture and design practice, innovation management in Germany and China, so there in German innovation activities were more clearly divided and they are sequential and scheduled, while the Chinese prefer to have overlapping activities, right? So in German they have a distinct products, or distinct innovations, or distinct research products, but whereas in Chinese many products they found to be similar, right? What happens in China and India? What happens in China and India is that, just a minute, in test class there, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ನಡೀತಾ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಓಕೆ ಜಸ್ಟ್ a minute. Sorry for the disturbance. So there, the room in which I was sitting, their tests are being planned, right? Therefore, I had to shift. So what we are discussing is that in Germany, innovation activities are there more clearly divided and sequential in nature. But whereas in China or some, if you consider Asian countries, okay, many overlapping activities are there, right? So many products they are found to be similar. So because in India, in Asian countries where population is very high, they need to serve the peoples of various classes or diversified classes. For example, in shopping mall, a item if you are purchasing for 10,000, the same item may be available in Majestic Footpath or somewhere else, okay, even for 1,000 or 2,000, right? So they might have copied just similar product, right, with less quality. The presence of cultural difference in new product development, suggesting formality in US firms and a holistic approach in Japan, right? So these cultural differences, right? So they influence the new product development, right? Suggesting formality in US firms. Okay, in US firms, more formalities were there, whereas in Japan, holistic approach. Holistic means a complete approach is there. Completeness, complete ethical approach is there. Okay, many times in US firms and all, more formalities, simple formalities are being followed, right? China may have difficulty incorporating the voice of the customer because of their Confucian value for stability over change and may adhere more strictly to supervision and rules. In Chinese, they usually follow the Confucian values. Confucian is one of the philosopher of in China, so they follow his value. They try to adhere more to the supervision and rules. They do not try to deviate, since it is a communist country, right? So their rules and supervisions are more stringently followed. This could directly affect how design thinking is manifested in China. So limitations of design methods in emerging countries suggesting that there is significant opportunity to evolve design practices to be more sensitive to those cultures. Whereas in India, okay, Bollywood method of storytelling is more common, right? In India, if you might have seen ads and all those things, so they include the Bollywood method of storytelling, like emotions and all they use, right? In olden days, right? So ads and all they used to be emotional values, family values they used to include, right? So this is the culture in India. Again, when you consider the culture and design, effect of culture on design, so this includes the role of institutional context. So client institutional context means where they have a set of rules in a different institutes and organizations. Okay, they have a different set of rules, regulations, and all those things. Their client expectations, attitude towards creativity, interaction norms within the professions, way of using prototypes, and ecologies around design educations are all included in this institutional context, right? In a where different peoples are being clubbed together in an institution, right? Like our engineering college or any other private industry or right university or private offices, design offices, etc. So when you consider client expectation, particularly at design consultancies, were described as heavily influencing the types of prototyping, concept generation, and storytelling processes followed by designers in different regions, right? The clients in different region, they influence the types of prototyping, what is the concept they generate, and the storytelling processes, right? Any product if they develop, okay, they must tell the development story behind the development of a particular product to influence the peoples, right? If there is some problem is there, because of that problem only that product came up, right? So the story behind that product, if they explain to the clients and customers, then customers then can understand the problem, okay, and they can think that they can use it for that particular type of the problem, right? Any report in future also in higher studies also you go to write the reports and all. There also in the introduction chapter, first thing what you must highlight is the what is the what is the problem, what is the present technology, and what is the problem in that present technology, right? And for that, what solution you are going to bring up, right? And even the clients have frames that determine their expectations for what the designer should deliver, how they should behave, and if their own role in the process. So these frames then affect the way in which design is interpreted and enacted, right? Even the clients, they have a certain frames and they also expect, right? So what the designer should deliver, what is the final product should look like, and how they should behave, and what is their role, what is the role of the designers in the process. Okay, all these are the frames which are defined by the clients. And different regions, they have a different meaning for creativity. So Western designers were sometimes seen as being radical and designing products that could not easily be manufactured or were only appropriate for a niche market. They were just too out there, right? Western market, okay, they have a creativity, it has a different meaning, right? They their product, they found they are more appropriate in niche market, right? So it means that this product is also there, right? Which is whether it is useful to the product or all the customers are not, there or not, but if it is not there in the market, they want to manufacture and put it in the market. That is about the Western designers. But in Asia, right, particularly when observing in-house designers, we noticed that using existing similar products as sources of inspiration was the norm, right? So as we even discussed in the previous slides also, in Asian countries, there are many overlapping and similar products are there, similar designs are there, right? Because India has to, or Asian countries, they have to cater different class of the people, or diversified peoples, right? While the North American and perhaps the European nations notion of creativity is to stretch beyond what is expected or known. Our Asian notions of creative design valued harmony with existing products, right? So it is that I mean in North America and in European, right? So they want to create something new other than the existing product, right? And in Asian countries and all, the concept is that they want to just fit in the crowd, right? If that person is having a phone, I must also have a phone, whether it is red phone or not, red phone or even some cheaper brand is also, it's okay, right? Indians, they want to fit in the crowd, right? Many times finding resonates with cross-cultural research on individualism and collectivism, which suggests that those from the West tend to prefer to stand out to differentiate themselves from others, whereas those from Asian cultures tend to prefer to blend in and be seen as part of the group, right? So in, because less population is there in Western countries and all, okay, people in market liquidity flow is very high in those countries, right? For them, every time they want to buy a product which is more extravagant, right? Or sometimes which is more different from than from others. Whereas in India, right, where cash the liquidity is very less compared to the number of peoples, or per capita income is very less. So they just want to fit in the crowd, right? This is was the concept you must understand from all these slides, right? And the last topic in this module one is minimum viable product or prototyping. So what is minimum viable product or prototyping? So we'll understand one by one, right? First, we'll understand what is a prototype. The prototype is the theory behind your product made into form. Instead of having a vague idea of what you want to eventually build, make something tangible. If something is there in your idea, in your mind, right? First thing what you do directly, you will not go to the manufacturer and ask him to manufacture, but you write it down on the paper, or even you can model in the computer software model using Google SketchUp or any other 3D modeling softwares, right? Add solid edge or different types of softwares are available in the market. Using those softwares, you will model using in computer or write it down on the paper, right? So this is prototype. A prototype can be very in size and how each time and effort you put into them. It might be a simple sketch on paper, or it might be a something more functional and interactive, right? Benefits of prototype. So benefits of this prototype is that it helps you to communicate with your design and engineering teams. You need to show them what to build. Think of it as the packaging of an empty box, right? So it should be like what should you are going to communicate to the designer engineering team what you want to build for them. It shows you what is inside and what looks like, but there is currently nothing going to underneath, right? What is the outlook of the product, right? Just like a cover, packaging cover, okay, where just by looking at the packaging cover, you will understand what is inside that pack. But here, this is a very primitive stage. This is not an actual model, right? So depending on your skill level, you can make the prototype as complicated as possible, starting from simple drawing to the computer model or physical product. So there are various types of the prototypes are there: paper sketches and digital prototypes, right? In paper sketches, so this is the lowest level of prototype where you draw out a basic idea of what user interface will look like. So this will not be creating a drawings and all or flow chart, right? If you want to make something visually appealing to communicate to investors or stakeholders, work with the designer to create something that fits your vision, right? So if you want to make this portable, okay, appealing for the investors or the stakeholders means customers or the users or beneficiaries, right? So you need to do that one, you need to interact with the designers, right? You need to take the input from the designers also to what is possible or not, right? Whether it is executable, right? So those things, even if many times you will be having idea, sometimes what happens, many of the ideas may not be implementable, right? You need to convince the investors that this product can be implemented, right? So digital prototypes, you can also create a working mock-ups of your envisioned product, and there are many tools to help you to do that, like just like I explained, Google SketchUp is there, or if you see mechanical engineers, they use Solid Edge, or many finite element softwares are also are there. So many 3D modeling softwares are available in the market. So in civil engineering, we have AutoCAD is there, or PDMS also sometimes we use plant design management softwares, or Revit Architect is there. Many things are there, right? And next, minimum viable product. It is a product which has a bare minimum services, right? So it is the bare minimum version of your product that still solves the problem for your customer. For example, if you want to travel from point A to B, right? That is your requirement. That the first instance will be, you will not be given Audi car or something else, right? So there you can start with a simple skateboard or scooter or cycle, first thing, right? So later it can be improved to like motorized. Motorized means petrol engine or diesel engine, you can fit into that one, or you can make even a scooter like or car like product. Or if next stage is customer may want some entertainment system in that one, in that you can include the audio video devices in the car. This is how products are developed, right? Where the first product, lowest version of the product is called minimum viable product, right? Without testing and understanding what works and what does not, you might have given them a skateboard with a Nintendo Vice strapped to the front instead, right? You can, without testing and understanding what works and what does not, you'll start with a skateboard. Then, based on the feedback from the customer, you go on improving the product, right? So again, many examples, some of the examples of minimum viable products are Groupon, a WordPress site and PDFs. Okay, this is an online shopping uh, system. So it is being used in Western countries and all. And next, Airbed and Breakfast. This has started with 3 guests and now it has grown to 400 million people. Again, other Dropbox. Okay, the product which was not even existed, like online storage system, just like your Google Drive. Dropbox is also a product, right? So from this one, you can avoid pen drives and all those things, right? So many times I also used to work in Dropbox and Google Drive, right? I will be working in my system here in college, right? Desktop there. So everything. So what I do, I will be working in Google Drive. Everything will be uploaded to the cloud, right? When I go home and my switch on my laptop from the cloud, it will drop to the my system, right? Thereby, so I can avoid carrying the laptop, right? Here I'll come to the college, I'll work in desktop. When I go to home, so I can work in my laptops, or the same thing I can work in my iPad also. If I have installed the Google Drive, there are Dropbox. From there also, I can access the information or my files and start working, right? Redbus, next example, Redbus, it started as a student product and then now it is a big, it has grown to a big online platform for booking the bus tickets and all, right? And major differences between prototype and MVP lies in scope, commitment, and audience. Scope of the prototype is only a investor, whereas the minimal viable product is, it is delivered to the client with bare minimum facilities. In that, commitment is also, in prototype it is not a working model. As commitment here in MVP is that it can serve bare minimum functions, whereas the audience in prototype are the investors or the whether it is going to work to the stakeholders or not. Okay, it is only preliminary stage. Investors or designer. Okay, prototype audience are the investors or designer or engineers, whereas the minimum viable product, it can even release it in the market with bare minimum functions, right? So audience are larger in case of the MVP, whereas less in case of the prototype. So tips for building your prototype or MVP are that, please stay to the customer focused. You need to understand, empathize the situation of the customers, what customers actually want, what is the requirement, what is the problem faced by the customers, right? And next is, you must stay data driven. Think about what data you want to collect from your prototype or MVP. It will help you to later in development and for future releases, right? What are the data required from the prototype? What data you want to collect from the prototype? What is required is, you need to attract the investor, whether the investor are interested or not, or this can be implementable or not. Those things you are going to collect from the prototype. Whereas the from minimum viable product, that basics model you are going to release to the customer, right? What are the operations that your product must give to the customers, right? From those operations, you are going to collect the user experience, right? So depending on the type of the product, so different data you can collect from the different MVPs. And next is the kill your darling. That means that you might be thinking that your product is great, right? Your product is excellent and all. You might think that, but important thing is that, right, the customer also should like your product. They should not think that from your perspective, right? You should also think that customer perspective, what they think, what is their likings, what service they want, right? So your interests and all, you need to supply. Just like if you have built some product, you are going to that, obviously you will like that one, right? Or if you something, if you cook in your house or somebody, okay, first time when you do, you will definitely like. But thing is that the consumer also must like that one. Okay, that you should be kept in your mind. And many times, just build the print, just build the damn thing, right? You build the damn thing, and no over perfecting your prototype. Let go and let people see them. Okay, instead of going for over perfecting it, release the product to the customer and take the feedback from the customer, and then go on improving. Many times over perfecting, what will happen is that somebody else may release the similar product, that idea becomes his idea, right? That is why MVP, minimum viable product you design, you release to the market, right? Then it will become your idea, right? So if you keep on making working on over perfecting and all, somebody else may release the product. So if you release your product, he may put a case even on you that you have copied his product, right? You have copied his product, and that is why MVPs are released as early as possible, right? These are some of the books and all which I referred, and web links are also there, right? So this finishes this first module, right?